More recently in the news, an issue of geoengineering has come up, and had a question about specifically stratosphere aerosol geoengineering, also called chemtrails. We see those on a regular basis here in California. Would you care to comment on that?
We can't think that these chemicals that they create in aerosol cans and in our ingredients we put on, even on our skin and food that we're putting in us, can be healthy for us. Why there's an increase when we have such great medical science today? Why is there an increase of flus, an increase of other diseases that hadn't been here before? Why are people getting sickly all the time? And with the chemtrails, I really just didn't know what they were. And then one day I was actually at a Ron Paul protest, and I was standing with a military veteran. He was a very decorated military veteran, older gentleman, and he said, "Wow, we sure have some chemtrails today." And I looked at him, I said, "What do you mean we have chemtrails?" He goes, "Look up in the sky." I go, "Oh, those lines." I said, "I was wondering what they are." He goes, "I worked in the military." And he said, "Young lady, I worked for the people that are putting that in the sky." Now, I'm not going to argue with a decorated military, war veteran here. So I asked him a few questions, and he said, "Young lady, go home and do your research, and just know that this is not healthy for you." I don't know why. Why? These are questions that you and we the people, need to be asking. Why? Is there something malicious that is happening, or is it benign? I mean, what? But why aren't we having any answers, and why aren't people talking about it? Obviously, we can't look up to the sky and see these chalk, like looking lines. Some days they're there, some days the sky is blue. We can't keep overlooking that. We have to start asking questions.
So what would you say to those scientists that say those are just normal contrails?
It was about a month ago, 2 months ago, I was out in the desert, and the sky in the morning was clear blue, clear blue. And later in the day I was driving to some campaign event. All of a sudden I see a plane, small plane, up in the sky, and you could see the trails. All of a sudden I see another one. And you just see these trails, these lines for miles, and they were zigzagging in the sky. I saw it with my own eyes, so that's not weather. I've seen big, huge propelled jets that don't leave that in the sky. So I don't know, but the scientific community, first of all, I mean, sometimes there's research that's being paid by someone. Well, who's paying them to do the research? You have sponsors. Well, who's sponsoring it? And also science, that's why it's called science. It's not perfect. It's just like with global warming. You had scientists that came out to say, well, our Earth is warming, and we have global warming, and we need to stop green gas emissions into the sky. And then you have other scientists that came out and said, no, you're wrong, that's false. Actually, our Earth has been cooling. So that's science. So, what we need is we need answers. We need to know what company, who are driving the planes, who is ordering the planes. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert, but we certainly should be asking questions. The environmentalists that are out there, how come they're not addressing that? Well, of course, because the special interests, the globalists, that's who pays them their pockets to go out and be the activists that they claim to be. So what we need to do is we need to expose that, and we need to join and make an environmental act, a real environmental act that prevents them from putting these chemicals into the air, which, of course, is ruining our health.